What's up, creepers and geekers? Chris, the Atari Creep. How's everyone doing today? I am knocking shit over here. Hey guys, before we get to the nitty gritty of this episode of Milieu Macabre, I just want to say thank you to all of my new subscribers, and of course to everyone who has been around for the duration of this whole train wreck, I guess you would call it. I just got another influx of subscriptions, and for that I really do appreciate it. I have a feeling it has a lot to do with, one, I've been doing some gameplay stuff, and two, Willie of Arcade USA gave me a shout out on his page regarding that Heavy Sixer project we're going to be continuing with here in the near future. So I'm assuming it's coming from there, but regardless, guys, thank you so much for coming by. Welcome. And feel free to chime in anywhere on anything that you'd like. All feedback to the Creep has always been positive. Secondly, if you remember, around Halloween time, I entered in the Monster Tutorials prop challenge. I decided to make a mask instead of a wreath. There were two challenges. I chose to do the challenge was basically get one of those blank white plastic masks and do whatever you want with it. There was no build limitations and there was no price limitations, much like we normally do. And I'm happy to say that because of you guys' help, I won first place. So for that, I can't thank you guys enough. I believe there's a $20 Amazon gift card and some stickers on its way to me. It's not even about the prize. I'll be using that gift card for Christmas stuff anyway, and it helps out a great deal. It's more the recognition and all that, and I can't thank you guys enough. So now on to what we're actually talking about. This is a build I've wanted to do for a couple of years now. It was actually really popular 2 years ago. Used to be able to get these at every costume store, and a lot of regular retail places were selling these for the Halloween season. They're about 12 to 15 bucks depending on where you went. This one is labeled at $15 wherever they picked it up. I just never got my hands on one. I'm not really into the whole going online and buying things. I'm an instant gratification guy. Now, mind you, that made this a 2-year process, so it kind of defeated the whole purpose of the instant gratification, right? But I was able to find one on the marketplace on Facebook for 10 bucks. I offered the guy 5. He took it, and I went and picked it up today. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to modify this to make it look a little more accurate, a little more, I don't know, prop-worthy, so to speak. It's not going to be screen accurate by any stretch of the imagination, and I really don't know how far I'm going to go into this build, whether it's just going to be a simple paint job or I'm going to be cutting into it. But first we need to open it up, see what we're dealing with, and then we can go from there. Alright guys, so here it is out of the package, and overall, it's a decent toy. There's some raised lettering here, and here, and here that needs to be sanded off. But overall, the form is there. Again, we're not going completely screen accurate. I would like to take the scope and move it over maybe about 1 inch to a 1/2 inch without doing too much modification to it. So I really don't know how far we're going to go. Now, there is also another feature where you can put batteries in here and it makes a blaster noise. I am going to sacrifice that sound for aesthetics. So I think first and foremost what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this thing off, and then I'm going to remove all the screws and pull the two parts off and see what we're left with, what will come off, what will not. I can already see, and I was fidgeting with it, these little bad boys will come off, so that's great. That'll make things a lot easier later on. So I'm assuming because, you know, orange, white, and all that crap, that some of this, once you unscrew it, will come apart. Maybe it's just slightly glued in there. Either way, I'm going to hit all these screws, pull it apart as best I can, and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, so we got the whole damn thing apart, and I gotta say, if you're going to do this and not just give it a paint job like everyone friggin' else is doing, please be patient with it. There's a lot of pieces that are keeping it from actually separating it. Good example is this piece right here, and this piece right here. That was the toughest part to get off, but a little bit of hot water and some very careful prying, of course covering it with a cloth, made easy work of that. You see these little holes here? That was actually screwed into the scope, so when you do get most of this apart, you still can't pry it apart. This is glued into here, and there's a lip there, but thank God, because I could open up this part, it just popped right out. But once you do get this open, and I have closed it, so I don't lose this piece. But you're going to have to kind of maneuver the gun like this to get to some screws so you can pop this off. But once you're able to get to that, and you very carefully use some hot water to get these pieces off, you're good to go. So now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the body alone for now. I'm going to very carefully separate the muzzle from the scope, because I do plan to use most of the scope, and I'm probably going to have to do a lot of modification to it, but I'd rather use what's already there. And again, the idea is to keep most of this. I'm not trying to make a 100% screen accurate, just good enough for government work kind of job. And figure out how to aesthetically make it look good. Just off-center this a little bit. I know I'm going to have to do some modifications and some filling, and I'm okay with that. So let me at least separate this from here, and then we can work on how the scope is going to go. All I got to say is thank God for these little scroll saws. So I was able to get these two separated. There's obviously going to be some work I need to do here anyhow, so I'm not worried about that. On top of course, drilling these holes out, but we'll get to that when we get to it. The only thing that's a shame is this part is going to be on the top, where it'll be very visible. I wish it could have been on the bottom where I could just kind of cheat a little bit. But maybe if I grind this nub down, because this cap actually goes on top of it. So if I grinded it down and just boom, put that down there, and then just did a little bit of putty work down there, maybe I can get away with that. Who knows? But more importantly, let's talk about the scope. And I think we're in the ballpark here. If I do it this way, you'll have to excuse me because this wants to come apart. You know what? Let me do this so it doesn't. Bam. God bless America. I think that right there is about right. I'm going to have to do just some slight modification. Actually, I think that's where I was going to have it. So what I'm going to end up having to do is just maybe cut away in here just slightly to get it to slip into this little groove right here. I'm also going to cut off these tabs off camera just to get them out of the way. And once I have that looking somewhat proper, we'll worry about filling in the rest of this afterwards. I mean, there's a lot here I'm going to have to fill in. So, yeah, let me just get to modifying this, get it to where it seats a little bit better, and then we'll worry about the aesthetics of the whole thing. I prematurely cut a little of this when I knew it was this I wanted to modify, but regardless, there it is. It fits in there nicely. So if we get the whole thing together, and hopefully it'll stay together, hopefully. Let me put the cap on there just to help me ensure that will happen a little bit. And there we go. Now I just need to come up with some kind of something or other to blend the two pieces together. And I think that'll do. I think that'll work just fine. So right now I actually want to focus on the main weapon itself, the body of it. I printed up a couple pictures of the actual Mauser weapon this is based off of, and you can tell a couple things from it. One, I need ink. But for the most part, believe it or not, the details, they did pretty well getting this together. So I printed these up because I want to make the top of the weapon look a little more accurate to start off with before we start putting things together and figuring out how things are going to go. I printed up this one so I can get an idea of what's going on in here. I'm going to have to make a new hammer for it, so I'll probably just use this. I might fill this with a little bit of resin, let it solid up, drill a hole, and then with putty build the gnarl end here. So I'm going to use this probably to make a hammer. I'll probably put a pin in there. But I do want to get the top and the sides here looking like it was a stock weapon, to the best of my abilities anyway. And then from there, of course, we'll sand down all the little stupid things. Basically just prepping the body of the gun to start fitting all this stuff here. Alright, so I got the grinding done mainly in here. Of course, in here it looks a little sloppy, but I actually followed the line. I brought this line down to where it was supposed to be. I leveled this off right here. This side was higher than this one, so I brought that level. And I also had to bring this down just a little bit. Some sanding and some finesse will make it work a little bit better. There was also a weird nub right here that I grinded off, and I still need to finish sanding that. I got my Sassy Chick stick, which works amazing. Dollar store emery boards. Can't beat them, guys. Can't beat them. So I have all that done. I also removed all the goofy lettering that was here and here. I popped this off. This was right here. Now I know on the actual prop it's a big gigantic disc. I'm just going to go with this one. And I'll just paint this one separately to look more metallic, and then pop it in and put some glue behind it after the fact. So I think that's where I'm going to leave you guys. Next, we're going to work on the bracket. I want to have something coming out this way, so it'll work with this a little bit better. Of course, I need to find a way to get these rounded off. I don't want to build another scope altogether. So I think next is going to be bracket, scope, muzzle. Of course, I'm going to fill the inside here the best I can to give it weight and to give it more structure here. And then, again, looking at my reference pictures, I will build up in the back here what needs to be done. So maybe the next video is going to be super intensive. It might just be this one thing. I don't know yet. So that's where I'm going to leave you guys. Thanks as always so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Again, guys, thank you to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying this as well as my other stuff. And that's really it. Guys, so let me know down below what you think. Thumbs up, thumbs down, all feedback to the Creep is positive. If you have any ideas on what direction I should go in, by all means, let me know. Send me a link, show me pictures, do whatever you feel like you need to do. And I will contemplate whether or not that is something that's doable. So guys, hope you're doing well. And until next time, take care, creep it real, and bye-bye.